Hey everyone, yasas que kalos irtate to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a moist lemony olive oil cake that's so tender and easy to make. You don't even need a KitchenAid blender for this. This all comes together in one bowl with a whisk, so you can't beat that. And I'm making it in a loaf pan just so that way it's easy to serve. And it's also the perfect gift to give if you're heading over to someone's house and you're not sure what to give. The best things are homemade if you ask me. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to begin by combining the dry ingredients. So in the bowl over here, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a little pinch of salt, like a quarter to half a teaspoon of salt, and then I'll zest 2 lemons. In here, the zest is what carries most of the fragrance and most of the flavor. So we're going to zest these 2 lemons. If you have small ones, maybe do 3, but these are pretty big. So we're going to get all the bright yellow part off of the lemon, and when you get down to the white part, stop zesting because that's really bitter and you don't want to add that to your cake. I'll add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder to this. So whisk this all together and set it aside. Next, we're going to juice both of these lemons. We're going to need about 1/4 cup of the juice. And to the juice, I'm adding it to my little pitcher over here. I'll add a teaspoon of baking soda to it. When you add the baking soda to a liquid, then it prevents it from kind of clumping up and ending up in one part of the cake. And sometimes you might have bitten into cakes that have a chunk of baking soda, like a clump of it in there, and it tastes really bitter and almost salty. So this is a little trick to prevent that from happening. Now we're gonna take a big bowl and combine all of the wet ingredients. So I'm gonna add 3/4 cup of light olive oil to my bowl with 1 cup of granulated sugar and 1/4 cup of yogurt, just plain yogurt. 3 large eggs at room temperature. If you forgot to take out your eggs, you could always put them in a bowl of warm water and just keep switching out that water until the eggs come to room temperature. And a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Just whisk that all together until it's smooth. And then we could add the lemon juice with the baking soda in here, whisk that up, and then slowly add the flour to this until it's all incorporated. Try not to overmix so that way the cake is nice and light. I have a 9x5-inch loaf pan here that I'm just going to grease with a little bit of baking spray. This is just avocado spray. You can grease it with butter or with olive oil, and then place a piece of parchment paper in there too. It's going to help the cake release easily. Transfer all of the batter to the baking pan, and then it's going to bake in a preheated oven. And if I haven't already introduced you to my new convection countertop oven, here it is. I love it because it preheats really quickly. It doesn't heat up my whole kitchen, and it bakes evenly. It has so many functions like an air fryer, a toaster, and it also bakes cakes evenly, so I love it. It's preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The cake is going to bake in here for 50 minutes. You'll know it's ready once a toothpick is inserted to the center of the cake and it comes out clean. Once the cake comes out of the oven, you could just run a knife all around it. Let it cool in the pan for a few minutes and then carefully lift it out and place it over a cooling rack so that way it can come to room temperature. Once it comes to room temperature, then we're going to top it with either powdered sugar, but I love to make this lemon glaze that's so simple to make. I just take 2 cups of confectioner sugar and I add it to a bowl with the zest of a lemon, and then about 3 or 4 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. This is going to be very lemony and sweet. You can get it to the thickness that you like by either adding more juice. You can add some milk to it. I'm just going to thin it out with a little bit of water just until it reaches a very pourable consistency. Keep in mind that the more liquid you add, the more translucent the icing is going to be. So if you want it more white and on the thicker side, add less liquid to it. As it sits, it is going to thin out just a little bit. And another tip is make sure that the cake has completely cooled down before you drizzle this on top. Otherwise, it'll absorb into the cake and make it syrupy instead of adding a beautiful garnish. That's it. The cake is ready to serve. You can just slice it into thick slices, make some coffee and some tea, and serve this to your guests. And there you have it, a beautiful, moist, lemony olive oil cake that comes together in no time. You know what I'm about to say, make a double batch because this is good to give away as gifts. It also stores really well in the freezer. And then if you decide to top it off with that lemon glaze like I did, it just kicks it up a notch and makes it brighter, a little bit sweeter. The cake itself is not too sweet. Let me taste it just to be sure. So perfect. I just love citrus flavored desserts. They're so fresh. Like I said, this one is not too sweet. So the glaze on top adds the perfect amount of sweetness. It's bright, it's fresh, it's moist, it's just delicious. I hope you guys give this one a try. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrazishes.com. If you're looking for the oven that I bake this in, it's a countertop oven that I absolutely love. I'll place the Amazon affiliate link down below so you can check it out. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, Zest.